They laughed the moment he walked in. His shirt was too big, his shoes had holes, and his bag was stitched with tape. Even the teacher smiled awkwardly, trying not to join the joke. He kept his head down. This was his first day at the new school. The city kids were different. Polished shoes, branded bags, perfect hair. He was from a small village, and it showed in every step he took. During roll call, when he said his name, Brahim, someone from the back whispered, "Sounds like a cleaner, not a student." The class burst into laughter. Ibrahim didn't react. He looked at the broken chair in the corner of the room, picked it up, and quietly sat down. There were no tears in his eyes, but there was something else, something still, something strong. After class, he stayed behind. While others rushed home, he pulled out a faded notebook from his bag. It was filled with drawings, machines, wires, strange-looking diagrams. They weren't random, they were inventions. He had no internet, no books, but his mind was always building things. He began sketching again, focused. He didn't notice that Hamza, the most popular boy in class, had returned to grab his forgotten wallet. From the door, Hamza watched. Then, silently, he took a photo of Ibrahim's notebook and smiled not kindly. That night, in the school group chat, Hamza posted the photo. The caption said, "The crazy dreamer, building robots with a donkey's brain." Reactions poured in, laughing emojis, jokes, memes. Ibrahim didn't know yet. The next morning, as he entered school, the laughter started again, louder this time. But he didn't stop walking. He looked up at the front gate, then back at the school building. For a moment he clenched his fists, then slowly he smiled, not at them, at something only he could see. And that night, under a single bulb, he began building something real. Ibrahim had one dream. He wanted to build something that could speak for him, not with words, but with action. But how could he? His family had no computer, no internet, no guidance. Just a tired mother, a sick father, and a house where even electricity came and went, like a guest who never stayed long. Behind the town's scrap market, he found a broken laptop dumped with rusted iron rods and old fans. The screen was cracked. The keyboard was missing 3 keys. But to Ibrahim, it was a treasure. He carried it home like it was made of gold. His little brother laughed. "What will you do with that?" "It's dead." But Ibrahim didn't answer. He spread out his tools to screwdrivers, a soldering wire, some copper pieces, and an old phone battery. For weeks, he worked at night. While others slept, he twisted wires, cleaned circuits with a toothbrush, and whispered prayers between his breaths. Days turned into weeks. His fingers got cut. His eyes burned from candlelight. But one night, something changed. As he connected 2 loose wires near the motherboard, the screen blinked once, twice, then lit up completely. He froze. His hands shook. He had done it. It wasn't fast. It wasn't beautiful. But it was alive. Using his neighbor's hotspot borrowed. After helping her fix her washing machine, he opened a free Kodanji website. The interface loaded slowly, very slowly, but it was there. Code, logic, the door to the world he always dreamed of. For the next few weeks, Ibrahim barely left his room. He watched free videos, studied line by line, and practiced on simple programs. A game of bricks, a calculator, then a digital drawing tool that worked with keyboard arrows. He didn't notice how much time had passed, or that the small generator his uncle used to power their lights was gone, sold, without warning, that night. As he sat coding a simple puzzle game, the screen flickered, the power was gone. He rushed outside, panicked. His mother stood near the gate. "Your uncle sold it," she whispered, "said we needed food more than light." He looked at her, then looked at the dark sky, then at his dead laptop. But instead of crying, he said something quietly, almost to himself. "Fine, I'll build something that runs without their power." And, in the corner of the room, under the moonlight, he began sketching again. But someone had followed him home that day. Someone from school. And they had taken another photo this time, not of his notebook, but of his house. The caption read, "He codes in a hut, calls himself a genius, LOL. They didn't know they had just photographed the place where the future was being written. Days passed, there was no generator, no steady power, just a candle and the fading screen of a second-hand laptop whose battery barely lasted 30 minutes. But Ibrahim didn't stop. Every evening, as the world outside laughed, played, and forgot, he existed. He lit his candle and returned to his world of codes and wires. The smell of burning wax became familiar. The flicker of the flame was his new internet light. His little brother would fall asleep beside him while he tapped keys with cracked fingers. His mother would leave a Rhodian water beside him, whispering, "Don't go blind, beta." But he wouldn't stop. He was building something. He called it Jump Boy, a simple offline game with a tiny pixel character who had to jump over garbage, bullies, and broken wires. The levels got harder, but the boy always made it through. It was his life, just hidden in code. One day, he copied the game onto a USB drive and visited the local internet cafe. It was noisy, crowded. Kids were playing big, fancy games. No one noticed him at first. He slipped the USB into one of the computers, uploaded the file, and left. It named "Free Game Try if you're bored." He sat in the corner, pretending to do homework, watching quietly. A boy opened it. Then another. Within an hour, 5 kids were playing jumboilifing, shouting at the screen, surprised how fun and different it was. I can't believe it's offline. One said, who made this? Another asked. No one knew. Ibrahim felt his heart beat fast. He had never felt this before, strangers enjoying something he built. Not mocking, not judging, just playing. But that joy didn't last. The next day, as he returned to the cafe, he saw a poster near the entrance. New game created by Hamza Shah, his game, his code, same name, same character. But someone else had taken it. He stormed inside. Hamza was there, showing off. I improved it, he said loudly, but I built it from scratch. No big deal. Ibrahim tried to speak, but no one listened. The cafe owner even told him to leave. You should be thankful Hamza gave your village some fame, he laughed. Ibrahim walked out, his fists tight, eyes burning, not from tears but rage. That night, he did something he had never done before. He posted his original code online, with his name, his sketch, his face. He wrote, I built this, my code, my game, and now, I build again. As the post went live, a stranger from another country clicked on it. He downloaded the file, then messaged, where are you from? Are you for real? And Ibrahim, sitting under candlelight with an empty stomach, typed back, I'm very real, and I'm not done. But outside his window, someone had been watching, and this time, they weren't just laughing, they were planning something. Next morning, Ibrahim woke up to find his phone buzzing nonstop. His code, his game had been shared hundreds of times overnight. People from different cities, even different countries, were commenting. Brilliant for a kid. Wait, this was made without electricity. Who is Ibrahim? But just as hope began to rise in his chest, a new wave of comments followed. This is fake. Hamza made this game. He stole it from his classmate. Don't trust poor kids with big claims. His name was being attacked. Again, just like school, just like always. He tried to respond, to defend himself, but Hamza had already gone live streaming from his shiny room, confidently saying, look, I don't know why this village kid is obsessed with me. He's just trying to get attention. He even showed a printed code file edited modified. See, my initials are here. Fake, all of it, but polished, believable. Ibrahim's hands trembled. This wasn't just bullying now, it was theft. On a global stage. But this time, he had something he didn't have before. A mind that had built and a fire that wouldn't die. He stayed silent for 2 days, didn't respond, didn't argue, didn't cry. Instead, he began building again. This time, something bigger. An offline app designed for students like him, those without internet, without light, without help. A place where kids could learn coding, maths, logic, all in simple steps. All offline. He called it, Learn Light. Because sometimes, light doesn't come from a bulb, it comes from inside. He tested it on his broken laptop. It worked. He shared the first version on a coding forum quietly. No big announcements, no name, just one message. This is for every kid who studies by candlelight. That night, he got an email from a man named Thomas Ray, a small investor from Canada. It read, who really built this? I want to speak to the real creator. Ibrahim didn't reply at first. He was scared. What if it was a trap? Another Hamza trick. But then, the next email came. I tried the app. It's brilliant. I know talent when I see it. And I can smell a lie. Ibrahim's heart raced. He replied with a voice message. Quiet, nervous. My name is Ibrahim. I made it from a small town in Pakistan. I have no degree, no company, just an old laptop and a lot of time. The typing dots appeared. Then came the reply. You don't need a degree when you build like this. You need a platform. Let's talk. Ibrahim stared at the screen. It didn't feel real. But just as he began to type back, he heard his name being shouted from outside. Rushed to the window. Police cars. A crowd. His uncle screaming. Someone had filed a complaint, claiming he stole software, claiming he was a scammer, and standing behind the crowd was hamza.smiling.com, certain he had just ended everything. But what he didn't know was that Ibrahim had already uploaded a new version of Learn Light, and this time, it was going viral. The internet cafe owner called Ibrahim early in the morning. His voice was shaking with excitement. Beta, you're on YouTube. Foreign vloggers are talking about your app. One of them called you the Candlelight Coder. Ibrahim didn't know what to say. He hadn't even seen the video yet. But in his inbox, there were now hundreds of new emails. Messages from students, strangers, journalists. Some wanted interviews, some wanted advice. Others just wrote, you made me cry. Thank you. And then it happened. An email from Thomas Ray again. Subject line, your first investment. Inside was a screenshot of $500, transferred to his PayPal, for his app's licensing rights, but with a twist. You'll stay the owner. We'll just help scale it globally. He stared at the screen for a long time, not blinking, not breathing. His hands shook as he called his mother. She thought something was wrong. Kaya Hua Beta. He couldn't speak, just held the phone to his chest as tears streamed down his face. They weren't tears of pain anymore. They were new, bright, loud, like freedom. He printed the receipt, folded it carefully, walked to the same school where they once laughed at his torn shoes, Hamza was standing near the gate with his usual group. Confident, loud, Ibrahim walked straight to him. No anger, no noise, just calm. He unfolded the paper. Hamza glanced at it and froze. Is this real? Yes, Ibrahim said softly, and it's just the start. Hamza forced a laugh. Congratulations, Candle Boy. Let's see how long you last. But his voice cracked. Just a little. Later that day, Ibrahim used part of the money to buy a second-hand solar panel. It wasn't much, but it meant he'd never go without power again. He also bought something else, a low-cost smartphone for his little brother. Why? His brother asked. Because next, we're building something together. That night, Ibrahim uploaded a new version of Learn Light with audio lessons, basic voice coding, and multi-language support. All offline. He also posted one sentence online. The world didn't give me light, so I made my own. The post blew up. Thousands of shares, comments from India, Nigeria, Brazil, people from villages, towns, and refugee camps saying, "This is exactly what we need. This kid thinks like us. How do we support him?" But the noise also reached someone else. Someone with power. Someone whose company made a similar education app paid online-only. They didn't like what Ibrahim was doing, not because it was wrong, but because it was working. The next morning, a legal notice arrived, accusing Ibrahim of data misuse, software imitation, and code theft, signed by a major tech firm based in Karachi. And guess who their new junior intern was? Hamza Shah. That battle wasn't over. It was just beginning. The letter lay on the table like a shadow, cold, official, heavy. Ibrahim's mother read it in silence. She didn't understand every word, but she understood the fear behind it. Is this real? She asked. Yes, Ibrahim whispered. They want to shut me down. The legal notice was from ED Technologies, a well-funded education startup with branches across Pakistan. It claimed that Learn Light used a similar learning format and copied intellectual property. At the bottom of the letter, printed in clean font, Junior Legal Assistant, Hamza Shah. Ibrahim stared at that name, not with anger, but disbelief. After stealing his game, after mocking his family, now he wanted to erase him again. This time, with paper and power, his inbox was full of concerned messages from new users. Is the app safe? Will it stay online? Will you stop updates? He didn't know what to answer. But just then, another email landed in his inbox. From Thomas Ray, subject, "Don't panic, let's fight back." Inside was a simple message. You have proof. You have time-stamped code. You have sketches. And now, you have us. Thomas's legal team from Canada joined in. Volunteers from open-source communities stood beside him. Even a retired lawyer from Lahore messaged him. "Son, I grew up just like you. Let me help you free of charge." Ibrahim had never seen this kind of support before. Not from neighbors, not from school, but strangers, people who only knew. His struggles stood up like family. He gathered all his notebooks, his early sketches, his source codes, video recordings, screenshots. They built a public case and posted it on GitHub. Open, transparent, powerful. The public responded loudly. #LearnLight is original. #I stand with Ibrahim. #education should be free. News outlets picked it up. Local YouTubers made videos. One headline read, "From Candlelight to Courtroom, how a boy from nothing took on the giants." But behind the screens, Ibrahim was exhausted. He hadn't slept properly in days. He barely ate. He feared everything would still collapse. Until one morning, a letter arrived. Not from court, from a university in Islamabad. It said, "We'd like to invite you to speak at our Tech for Good conference. Your voice matters." He didn't believe it at first, but the ticket was real. So was the hotel booking. He had never left his town before, never seen a city skyline. When he reached Islamabad, students waited at the gate. Some knew his name, some had used his app. They took selfies with him, not because he was famous, but because he was hoped. He stood on stage, nervous at first, then he began to speak. Not with big words, not with perfect grammar, but with truth. About being laughed at, about darkness, about building light. The hall was silent, until the applause started. It didn't stop for minutes. But later that night, in the hotel lobby, he saw something. He didn't expect Hamza standing with two men in suits, watching him, expressionless. Before Ibrahim could move, Hamza walked up. Leaning in, he said, "Enjoy your little spotlight, but you don't belong in our world." Ibrahim didn't respond. But back in his hotel room, he opened his laptop and began working on a new update for Learn Light, this time with voice-to-code features for blind students. And as the screen glowed in the dark, a new email arrived. From a Silicon Valley company, subject line, "Let's talk partnership." But Hamza wasn't done. He had one more card to play, and it involved someone inside Ibrahim's own family. Zion didn't open the message for hours. He just stared at it, heart pounding, mind spinning. The one name he never thought he'd see again. His father, a ghost from his childhood. Someone he had erased from every poem, every sentence, every public story, because the pain was still there, quiet but deep, like a cut that never fully healed. That night, Zion didn't sleep. He kept remembering the last time he had seen him, A rainy afternoon. His father's back, walking away from their small house. A red bag in his hand. No goodbye. No reason. Just silence. And then years of nothing. Zayan had always asked his mother why. She never said much. Only that his father. I had his reasons. And sometimes even good people leave for bad reasons. Now, after all these years, he wanted to meet. The next day, Zion sat in the garden where he had first written his secret poems. The trees had grown taller. The birds louder. His heart heavier. He opened the message again. Your words reached me, son. I don't expect forgiveness, just a chance to explain. I'll wait near the old bookshop this Friday, 5 p.m. You don't have to come, but I hope you will. He stared at the time. Friday was 2 days away. He didn't tell anyone, not even his mother. He wasn't ready. The next 2 days passed like fog. He went to school, smiled in interviews, replied to Oxford's invitation, but inside, his heart was like a shaking glass of water full, fragile, uncertain. Friday came. 5 p.m. Zayan stood across the street from the old bookshop. The place hadn't changed. Same faded sign, same broken lamp, same smell of old paper and forgotten dreams. He saw a man sitting on the bench near the door. Gray hair, wrinkled hands, eyes full of waiting. Zion didn't recognize him at first, but the way he kept looking at his watch, it was him. Zion walked over, each step slower than the last. When he stood in front of him, the man looked up, his eyes widened. He stood. Zion nodded. It's me. They stood in silence for a moment. Then his father said, You've grown taller than I imagined. Zion didn't smile. Why now? The man looked down. I've been following you, quietly. I saw your video, your speech. I heard your pain. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a yellowed envelope. I wrote you a letter, years ago. I gave it to someone to deliver, but I guess it never reached you. Zion took the envelope slowly. The paper was old, creased, but the handwriting was familiar. His father's. He didn't open it. I waited. Zion said quietly. I waited every night. His father nodded. I know, and I'm sorry. I left because I thought I was the problem. I thought you'd be better off without me. I was weak. I was scared. Zion swallowed hard. You were my father. I didn't need perfect. I just needed present. The words hit the man like a stone. He sat down slowly, his hands shaking. Zayan sat beside him. For the first time in years, they were side by side. I don't expect you to forgive me, his father said, but I want to know you, even if it's just as a friend. Zion looked at him. You weren't there when I was thrown out of class. You didn't see how hard it was to be invisible. I saw. The man whispered. From far, I watched your videos in internet cafes. I cried every time, but I never had the courage to face you. Zion closed his eyes. He didn't know if he forgave him, but he didn't walk away. They sat for an hour. No cameras, no poems, just a boy and the man who left. Before partying, Zion asked, Did you ever read my first poem? His father nodded. The one about the candle in the rain? Zion looked surprised. You read it? I memorized it. Zion smiled softly. That candle was about you. His father's eyes welled up. I figured. They exchanged numbers, but Zion wasn't ready for more. He needed time. Still, something had shifted. He walked home quietly. 8 night. He finally opened the letter. Inside were only 2 lines. Dear Zion, I'm sorry I left, but I've never left your heart. Zion sat for a long time, holding the letter. Then he recorded a voice message. His voice soft, full of something new, not pain, not hope. Maybe both. Sometimes, the people who leave carry more shame than those who are left behind. I met my father today, and no, things aren't perfect, but I looked into his eyes, and I saw a man trying to come home, and maybe that's enough to begin again. He posted it. It went viral again. But this time, the comments were different. Not just praise, but thousands of people sharing their own stories. Lost fathers, absent mothers, reunions, regrets, forgiveness, and then his phone rang again. This time, not from a local number. It was a video call. He answered. On the screen were students from Oxford, dozens of them, applauding. A woman stepped forward. Zion, we don't just want you to speak. We want you to help us design a new program for children who feel invisible. Will you come? Zion nodded, overwhelmed. Yes, I'll come. But, just as the call ended, another message arrived, an unknown account. The message said, You think your story is inspiring. Let's see how you handle the truth. Watch your inbox.